Are you asking the court to give you credit for every dollar that the Social Security Department paid directly to Ms. Gagne for the children?
Yes, ma'am.
And that you would also be given credit for those payments towards your monthly obligation?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
I believe Mr. Arthur's request is that he got a dollar for dollar credit against the court-ordered obligation for every dollar.
Let me hear from you first about what you would like the court to do.
First and foremost, the state is requesting that the OAG take up the matter of Mr. Arthur's allegations pled against the state of Texas. The OAG did file a special exception and pleaded the jurisdiction, and the state would respectfully request, after reviewing those, that the court deny Mr. Arthur's claims for relief against the Office of the Attorney General for the missed work interest and his pain and suffering claim or allegation pled due to the Office of the Attorney General and the state of Texas sovereign immunity, official immunity, as well as qualified immunity, in addition to the public duty doctrine. The Office of the Attorney General would further request that the court grant the special exceptions and the plea to the jurisdiction because of sovereign immunity, and Mr. Arthur failed to seek or provide a waiver of such immunity and failed to properly assert a viable, actionable claim against the Office of the Attorney General. The last issue pled in there was his allegations concerning overpayment, which I think is more aptly heard in the modification and confirmation of arrears portion of this. So we simply are asking for the court first and foremost to go forward on our special exceptions and plea to jurisdiction, and then hear the remainder of the matters.
Okay, Mr. Arthur, do you have a response to the state's motion and response to yours?
I have no problem with that. I just really want this resolved so that I am not overpaying anymore.
And Ms. Guenier, did you have any issues with granting the special exceptions?
I just want the child support to be settled and be done with this also.
Okay, so Ms. Sprague, if you can just outline briefly, I will grant your special exceptions. What else needed to be addressed in there? I'm just trying to pull up the pleading right now.
If you could grant our plea to the jurisdiction because of sovereign immunity.
Oh, yes. And so duly noted, and I will grant your plea to the jurisdiction as well. Anything else?
That is it for now. And with those rulings, the state's ready to proceed on our modification and confirmation of arrears.
Okay, go ahead.
The state would first ask the court take judicial notice of the file and all of its contents. And I am going to be offering into evidence. So after the court takes judicial notice, or as you're doing so, may I have permission to share screen?
Yes, ma'am.
There's a bit of a lag on my end. I apologize. Are you able to see my screen?
I am not. Oh, wait, hold on. I think it's populating now.
Is it showing now, Judge?
Yes, ma'am.
The state, in addition to requesting judicial notice of the file and all of its contents, the state is going to ask that the court enter into evidence as Exhibit A, the final decree of divorce of the parties, which is the order we're seeking confirmation of arrears from. The state's no longer going to proceed a modification as the last child emancipated last month with graduation. So there is no longer any child under the age of 18 or still enrolled in high school. The state would ask the court to enter into evidence to Exhibit A, the final decree of divorce consisting of 41 pages that was entered on or about September 16th of 2014.
Okay. Are there any objections with this document being admitted into evidence?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am.
Okay, state say admitted. Thank you.
The state is also going to request that State's Exhibit B for identification, an updated financial activity report consisting of 14 pages, also be entered into evidence. Both of these were emailed to the parties and the court earlier this morning. The first entry will begin in September of 2013, and the last entry being in July of 2026. State would request that States B for identification be admitted to States B.
Any objections for this document?
No, ma'am.
The only objection I have is that the state of Maine took my taxes and it's not showing on there, Your Honor.
Okay, but as far as this to be, I haven't made a judgment or making a judgment now, but as far as for me to look at it and to review it, do you have an objection with this document?
No, ma'am.
Okay, States be admitted. Thank you.
State is going to stop sharing at this time. There are additional exhibits which may be proffered later.
Okay,
Just to give you a baseline, Judge, the issues before the court is really going to boil down to whether or not the child support obligation from that 2014 divorce did or did not include credit for Social Security payments that the children were receiving as a result of Mr. Arthur's disability. There is language within the divorce decree that notes SSI payments, which is often confused with SSDI payments. So the issue before the court is really whether or not that 2014 decree ordering and obligating Mr. Arthur to pay $409 in child support for 4 children was in addition to Social Security benefits that the children are receiving, or if it what took it into it should be satisfied as with payments made by Social Security. Now, it's the state's contention that the 2014 calculations were in addition to the payments because that would have been in compliance with the Texas Family Code and due to retrospective calculations. But alternatively, if no credit was provided even at that time, he would be barred from receiving retrospective credit or prospective credit without because the only payments that will go towards Social Security direct payments that will go towards those are lump sum payments. I hope I set that out clearly enough.
so I'm trying to pull up the divorce decree so I can just read it again. In the divorce decree, was there any language that addressed current income? Well, let me rephrase. Was there any language that addressed the award letters to the children on behalf of Mr. Arthur?
The final decree of divorce did not contain findings. And on page 18 of the final decree of divorce, it states, in addition, Heather Lee Arthur will receive all of the SSI benefits for the children in the amount of $445. The issue, as you'll see through testimony, is what if we were to do a retrospective calculation of the child support obligation for 4 children based on net resources in 2014, it would be much closer to 445 plus 409 for the additional support than it would be to a simple $400 million figure.
Okay. I'm having a difficult time finding the divorce decree, but you said you gave it to me as an exhibit. Let me pull it up then.
I also can share screen on that page if you.
Yes, ma'am. If you can do that, please. And after this divorce decree, there were no other subsequent orders?
No, ma'am.
None, Judge. The parties actually did for a time move outside the state of Texas, which has further complicated the issues because at some point Texas closed our case, but then when there was movement back, then we reopened, and that's how some of this came about and how some of this confusion occurred. So this is page 8, the state's sharing page 18 of the final decree of divorce, and this is the language I was referencing. And in my review of the final decree of divorce, this is the only mention about Social Security benefits one way or the other in the entire 41 pages of the decree.
Okay, so through the time of the order till now, did the SSI benefit ever increase past 445?
It did. There were presumably cost of living increases, and we do have a calculation of that amount that we can offer to the court. And I don't want to speak for Miss Gaunier, but I believe it was she was willing to allow a release for that amount, the difference on the credit that he was getting versus what it was her understanding he was already getting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Judge, what was that?
I'm sorry, what was that amount?
The total amount inclusive of interest over this 12-year period was going to total $27,404.
And okay, I know Mr. Arthur mentioned there was an offset that wasn't reflected, but I'll let you move forward on your pleading before the court. Go ahead.
State calls Mr. Arthur, Roy Arthur II.
Yes.
We've talked and we've just laid the foundation a little bit for the judge before we start talking about all these numbers, Mr. Arthur. But as far as you're aware, the last order that affected this child support obligation was your divorce decree back in 2014. Is that right?
That is correct.
And back in 2014, were you working?
No, I was not working at the time.
Okay. Had you been discharged from the military at that time?
Yes, I was discharged in 2013, actually.
And that was a medical discharge?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you receiving any veteran benefits at the time of your divorce?
No, the only benefits I was receiving from the VA was my educational benefits so that I could go to college.
So you were receiving educational benefits. Was that monthly or did you receive it once or twice a year?
It paid the tuition and then I got a monthly stipend.
Okay. And do you recall about how much your monthly stipend was?
At that time, it was like $800 after the tuition was paid.
Okay. And that was per month?
That was per month.
And in addition, you also received some unemployment benefits during that time. Is that right?
No, I only received 6 months worth of unemployment, and that started in November. So yes, I guess you could say in 2014 I did receive some unemployment benefits, but it was only until like April.
Okay. And that was, do you recall what that amount was
Yeah, it was
for
like
that year?
maybe $500 a month.
Okay. And what other benefits were you receiving in 2014?
Just the Social Security disability.
Okay. And do you recall what that amount was?
Not at that time, ma'am. No, I don't remember how much that was.
And
It's
sorry, go ahead.
It fluctuated every year. Cost of living allowance, it went up, but I don't remember what it was that far back.
And you were able to provide us with your 2014 IRS income tax return. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Would you mind if I shared that with the court so she has the opportunity to review it?
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to share screen, Judge?
Yeah.
State's now sharing what has been marked as State's Exhibit C for identification of 2014 tax return for Roy Arthur II. Mr. Arthur, is this your tax return for 2014?
Yes, ma'am. It looks like it is.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, has it been altered in any way since you submitted it to the IRS?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And within this tax return, it notes that you have, I'm going to just go to the last page here. It notes that you had unemployment income for the year of 2014 in the amount of $9,080.
I thought that was the Social Security, ma'am.
What the portion that was attached here, your 1099 from Texas Workforce Commission notes $9,080.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Is that where you were getting your unemployment benefits from?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct. So if that's what it says, then that is correct, ma'am.
And in addition to the UIB or unemployment benefits you received, there was also Social Security that was reported for Social Security disability payments, excuse me. Is that right?
That is correct. But they were taking out child support of the other two children out of the unemployment.
Okay, so that's going to be a separate issue here. And unfortunately, when you sent us this 2014, it didn't have the 1099 from Social Security. But I'm sorry to be scrolling up and down here, but on this page here that I'm showing, it does note that you had a 1099 from Social Security totaling $14,952.
That sounds about right. It was usually close to $1,000 a month. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'm sorry, Judge, I don't think I actually asked that the exhibit be admitted into evidence. State would ask that State's C for identification be admitted.
Okay. Are there any objections with this document being admitted into evidence? Mr. Arthur?
Oh, sorry. No, ma'am. I don't have a problem with that, ma'am.
And Miss, is it Gonier?
It's okay. No, ma'am, I don't have a problem with it.
State C. Admit it. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Stop sharing for a little bit here. And Mr. Arthur, at the time that you were divorced from Miss Gonier, did you have any other children under the age of 18?
Yes, ma'am. I had two other children under the age of 18.
And they were your biological children?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they residing with you at that time?
No, they weren't. They were residing with their mom.
Were you court ordered to pay child support for those two children at the time of your divorce?
Yes, ma'am.
Through a valid court order?
Yes, ma'am.
And we've gone over the language already in the final decree of divorce, which notes that there was credit for SSI benefits to the children. Now, it does note children. Were any of your children entitled to their own Social Security, supplemental security income payments as a result of their own disabilities?
Yes, ma'am, that I know of, 3 of them were.
3 of your children were receiving Social Security benefits as a result of their own, not yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and which children were those?
I think it was Sonia, Sadie, and Aiden.
And do you recall how much they were receiving in their own SSI benefits?
No, it never came to me. It always went to their mom.
When did you start receiving Social Security disability payments?
From what I'm aware of, it looked like 2013.
And when you, I know this is a long time ago, but when you made application for SSDI, did you indicate that the 4 children that are before the court now, that you had those children?
When I filled out the paperwork, I put in all the children. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know when these children began receiving Social Security payments as a result of your disability?
No, ma'am, I am not aware of when it started.
But you did receive notice from Social Security letting you know that they were going to be paid benefits as a result of your disability.
No, I was not actually notified that they were going to do that.
You didn't receive the letters from the Social Security?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. Did you ever receive any letters from Social Security about that?
No, ma'am, I actually had to go down to the Social Security office to actually see what was actually being paid to them.
And you did provide some 1099s that you were able to secure. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
State requests permission to share screen again, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
State is now sharing what's been marked as State Exhibit D as in dog for identification. This does consist of 31 pages, and it is for the children, and it is broken down. These were provided by Mr. Arthur. I have organized them a little bit differently just for ease of understanding. They're organized first, all of Sadie's from 2016 through 2023, and then the same for Sonia, the same for Tanya, and then the only ones that were provided for Aiden were 2016, 17, and 18, followed by a letter for each child from 2018. Mr. Arthur, are these the documents that you obtained from Social Security concerning the benefits that the children received as a result of your disability?
Yes, ma'am, and I don't know why you're missing some of Aiden's because I could have sworn I got them all for all children.
Have these been altered in any way as far as you are aware?
No, ma'am, they came straight from the office and I handed or just scanned them and gave them to you.
And in addition to seeking these reports or these 1099s and award letters, you also received a report from Social Security that kind of summed things up. Is that right?
I think so, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm sharing what's been marked as State Exhibit E now, a report of confidential Social Security benefit information. Is this the letter that you had received or the report you received?
Yes, ma'am, that looks correct.
And has this been altered in any way that you're aware of?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would request that states D and E for identification be admitted respectively as states D and E.
Are there any objections for states D and E to be admitted into evidence? Mr. Arthur?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Conyer, thank you. Mr. Arthur?
No, ma'am.
Okay, states D and E admitted. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Arthur, I'm going to go back to these 1099s here, and it does show the amount that each child received or netted each year. And is it that you're asking the court to give you credit for payments that were collected and went through state disbursement units, in addition to payments that went directly to Ms. Gagne?
Can you repeat that question? Because it was kind of confusing.
Sure. So your final decree of divorce ordered that you to pay $409 per month for these 4 children. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time, based on the 1099s you've provided, they were already receiving the Social Security report State Exhibit E, they were already receiving benefits as a result of your disability when that decree of divorce was entered.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking the court to give you credit for every dollar that the Social Security Department paid directly to Ms. Gagne for the children?
Yes, ma'am.
And put it against the court-ordered obligation of $409 per month?
You mean
Apply it to the
apply it? Yes.
$409 monthly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for it was you. Tell us what your understanding of the decree of divorce was as far as how they arrived at your child support calculation.
That my ex would get the Social Security that the other children that were already receiving because of their disabilities, and that I would have to pay $409 for their child support.
But at that time, the children were receiving disability payments as a result of your disability.
They were receiving disability payments at that same time, and so wasn't she, actually. She was receiving some at that time too.
Was this something, and I know this was a very long time ago, and unfortunately, this decree does not include any specific findings for us to be able to have it super clear. But it was your understanding that the children were already receiving disability benefits as a result of your disability, and that you would also be given credit for those payments towards your monthly obligation.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Did you have any other extraordinary expenses or situation back in 2014 when the final decree of divorce was entered?
I was paying child support to two other children. It was close to, I think it was $800 a month. And I wasn't working. I was only pulling unemployment, and I was trying to go to school. So I was paying for my tuition and my schooling at the same time, and the cost of living.
And I know you already mentioned some monies on hold, and I want to talk about that for just a little bit. The monies on hold are not with the state of Texas. Is that right?
Are you talking about the taxes for this year being on?
Yeah, you did not receive any notice from the state of Texas that monies are on hold. Is that right?
That is correct. I did not receive any notification that money was on hold from the state of Texas.
And the notice that you did receive simply said it's on hold. It hasn't gone anywhere yet. So it hasn't applied to the case, nor has it been distributed to anyone. Is that right?
I was told that that's what they were going to do, but then when reading it again, it's basically stated that they weren't gonna hold it. They were just gonna keep sending it.
Okay. And there were a couple that were actually held. Is that right?
Just this year's taxes and what I was paying out of the school or out of my work.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Nothing that I know of is being held. It's going straight to the Texas Attorney General's office right now, other than the taxes from this year, which went to Maine because Maine took them.
And they have not, you haven't gotten credit for them, but they also have not been distributed.
I don't know
That's
if
what-
I don't know if they've been distributed or not, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did you at any time have a withholding order in place to where Social Security was taking money out of the money directly that you were awarded monthly for your child or for your disability?
A hold in place? I don't remember.
Not a hold, a collection. Were they taking money out of your award amount and sending it to Maine or to Texas to apply to any arrears or current obligation?
Oh, no, ma'am, not at all.
Okay. Okay. What else do you want to make sure the judge is aware of in regard to your calculation or the arrearages here? Because there's no more modification. Everyone's emancipated now. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And Ms. Gagne, we'll get to you next. The questions are for Mr. Arthur, okay?
Oh, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Arthur, is there anything else you want to make sure that the court is aware of before we ask her to make any rulings or considerations on the arrears judgments?
Yes, ma'am. I know that there's nothing in that divorce decree that says Social Security disability. It only says Social Security. And I've also been trying to get them to stop taking payments right now because we haven't even finalized court yet, or at least hold them.
I'll pass witness.
Ms. Gagne, do you have any questions of this witness?
Both.
I'm sorry?
You broke up for a minute. I didn't hear what you said, ma'am.
Do you have any questions of this witness?
No.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Sprague, call your next witness.
State calls Heather Gagne.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Gagne, to the best of your knowledge, that final decree of divorce in Texas from 2014 is the last order, only final order in place for these children. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oops, I didn't realize I was still sharing my screen. I'm going to stop sharing it at this time. And the divorce decree makes mention of you receiving some Social Security payments. What were those payments for?
Are you referring to the 445?
Yes, ma'am.
Those were coming from Roy's Social Security disability. And so at the time when the decree was wrote, they gave him because the original monthly amount was going to be 800 and change. So they allowed him to use the 445 in addition to the 409 to pay a month, which would be his monthly payment.
Okay, so it was your understanding at that time, and again, 12 years ago, that you would be receiving the payments coming to you from Social Security in addition to the court-ordered obligation?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did the children start receiving disability payments as a result of Mr. Arthur's disability?
I am not 100% sure on the date. I know when I had talked to you all in the past, you had it right down to the date when it started.
Okay, but what I'm trying to get here is your recollection is if
I think
they
it was
started receiving it.
2013, I think it was.
So that was even before the decree of divorce or the temporary orders were entered?
Yes, I'm quite sure of it. That's why it was counted as the 445 in addition to the 409.
And now there have been several years and several emancipations that have happened since then, which do adjust the monthly award amounts. Going by the documents that are in evidence, as well as the divorce decree, noting what credit Mr. Arthur was given, are you asking the court to give Mr. Arthur credit for the difference between the credit he was previously given and the actual amount of Social Security payments you were receiving from the time of the divorce until the last child emancipated last month?
No, I'm not asking for them to forgive that
Okay, so
or
you're
give
seeking
credit.
the full amount
Yes, ma'am.
and not an agreement for any credit to given to the roughly $49,150.72 owed? I'm sorry, ma'am, if you answered, I did not hear it. Or did she freeze?
I think she might be frozen.
I don't have her on video anymore. I mean,
I
it's
have
just
her on
black.
video, but it is a frozen screen. And Mr. Arthur, you can still hear us, right? And I see him moving.
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Ms. Sprague, it does seem that she left. She might have been disconnected. Do you want us to just hold on for about 10 minutes?
Yeah, there's an additional calculation I'm gonna make, so.
Okay,
give me
so-
time to change that.
I think my thing froze up on you.
Oh, there she goes. Perfect.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. We didn't do anything, so everybody's still under oath. Ms. Sprague, you may continue.
Ms. Gagne, when we lost you, I was trying to articulate what it is that you're asking of the court here today. Are you asking the court to take a total judgment as reflected on our financial activity report against Mr. Arthur, which would be $49,150.72,
Yes, ma'am.
without credit for the difference between what you actually have been receiving?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to make sure that the judge is aware of before we ask her to make some rulings in this case?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Arthur said that Sonia and Sadie were both getting a SSI monthly check out of besides his. He was not, they were not. Aiden was the only one that was because he has autism, Asperger syndrome on the spectrum. So Aiden got it for that. None of the other girls got it minus what came from his disability.
And at the time the two of you divorced, do you know whether he was still in the military?
I think he had just gotten out or thereabouts, almost out when we got divorced.
Do you have any information as to whether or not he was getting any VA benefits at that time?
From what I understood, he was getting, I think, $75 a month. I don't know if it was per kid or for all kids that was supposed to be sent to the kids, and we never received that. And oh, sorry, I just drew a complete blank. We didn't receive credit for that. The only things we've ever received was the Social Security benefit, and that's been all.
Were you aware if at any time he was receiving any other benefits or working at the time of your divorce?
You mean after we divorced?
At the time that you guys were divorced?
No, that's all I know of is that he was going to get VA benefits and Social Security after he got out of the military.
Past witness?
Mr. Arthur, do you have any questions of this witness?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Sprague?
I do actually have a couple additional, if I can recall, Mr. Arthur.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Arthur, you are no longer receiving Social Security disability, is that right?
That is correct.
And the last benefit check you received or deposit was December of 2023,
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
which means your benefits actually stopped in November of 2023 because they pay the next month.
Yeah, they
for
pay the
fall.
next month. Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Past witness.
Okay. Go ahead. Anything else?
State will rest and close.
Okay, go ahead.
So as I mentioned, Judge, the question here is whether or not that 2014 decree did or did not include credit for the Social Security that the children were already receiving at the time of the divorce decree. Based on the documents now in evidence and Mr. Arthur's 2014 tax return, if he had two other children for whom he was obligated to pay support for at that time, using today's guidelines, and they were a bit different 12 years ago, but even using today's guidelines, his child support obligation for 4 children would be around $820. So it's the state's contention that those Social Security payments, even though it says SSI, it does reference children, those are around the same amount. That amount, in addition to $409, would get to where his obligation likely would have been at that time. So it's the state's contention that the payments to Social Security were in addition to the court-ordered obligation, which would also mean that it was calculated in compliance with Texas Family Code 154-132A. Alternatively, if no credit was actually provided at the time of the decree and the what's called SSI payments referenced within the decree were not payments that the children were entitled to as a result of Mr. Arthur's disability, then Mr. Arthur still would not be entitled to credits for payments by Social Security under 154-132B and 157-009, because those statutes specify the only credits that are received directly that can affect arrearage balances. There's also a case in Ray HJW out of 2009, which noted that an obligor is not entitled to reimbursement from an obligee when contemporaneous payments are made directly to an obligee as a result of obligor's disability. So there were no lump sums that were received from Social Security. We're talking only about these monthly obligations that were made contemporaneously with the obligation. It's the state's contention that he did that was taken into consideration at the original setting of the obligation. And the state will request that an appropriate child support judgment be entered against Mr. Arthur. The amount reflected on the financial activity report due as of July 21st, 2026 is $4,150.72. Just for calculation purposes, if the court were to give Mr. Arthur credit for the cost of living increases, and as one child emancipates, the distribution to the remaining unemancipated dependents goes up. As I had indicated to the court previously, that would be a total of $27,404.10, which would make a judgment amount of $21,746.62. However, again, Judge, it is the state's position that he's not actually entitled to those, because the statutes are very clear that contemporaneous payments would not be given extra credit. The state would further ask that any judgment be paid back at a reasonable amount. The state would suggest, if there is a $49,000 judgment being entered, that Mr. Arthur be ordered to pay that back at $350 per month. And if the court were to alter the judgment at all, the state would ask that he pay the judgment back at least $200 per month. And the state would ask that the court make any orders on the court costs as the court deems in the best interest of the parties in the case here today.
Thank you. I do have a clarification question. What was the $4,150.72 that you mentioned?
I'm sorry, what was the number?
$4,150.72.
I'm not sure if I may have cut off at some point. I have.
But it was just an odd number out of everything else you had mentioned. So that's why I wanted to clarify. Maybe I got that number wrong.
I am not seeing that figure on anywhere of all of my
Okay.
12 years worth of numbers.
Okay. So, I mean, I have it written down here, but that's fine. So, just so I'm clear, the state is asking for the $49,150.72. From what I gather, Mr. Arthur is definitely wanting the offset. There is another offset of all of it, or the difference between what was court ordered in the decree and perhaps what was actually provided to the family. Am I kind of summing that up correctly?
I believe Mr. Arthur's request is that he got a dollar for dollar credit against the court ordered obligation for every dollar. So
that's what I heard that he wants. Okay. I just want to make sure that that's what I'm hearing correctly. Okay. A lot of numbers going on. All righty. Mr. Arthur, let me hear from you first about what you would like the court to do.
Because of my understanding, I thought I was doing the right thing. So I am trying to get the courts to see that I should at least get credit for what was paid by Social Security disability, because I mean, it was going directly to her. It was getting paid. Also, there's an additional $2,000, I think $465 that the state of Maine took from my taxes, that they haven't even sent back, which I did give the Texas Attorney General's office the information. I just want this to be fair, Your Honor. This is all I'm asking for.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And Ms. Gonia, is there anything else you would like to address the court at this time, ma'am?
I also think it needs to be fair. You know, I've raised 4 kids on my own, and I can guarantee you it was more than $50,000 to raise those 4 kids and get them through everything. And as many times as Mr. Arthur has taken me to court to be unfit or stop child support or whatever he can find to do, he's done. And I think it's only fair to these kids that they get the back child support that they deserve. Like I said, I've taken care of them and have seen that they have everything they could possibly need and want. And I understand that sometimes he looks at it as supporting me, but my kids are grown and I support me. And I just think it's just fair, even if he did not understand the wording in it, that we shouldn't be penalized for him not understanding the same order that he signed and agreed to.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Sprague, last word.
Thank you.
Nothing further from the state judge.
And this is a judgment as of when?
July 21st, 2026.
Okay, based on the testimony and evidence before this court, I do find that there is a judgment of $49,150.72. However, I do believe the intent of the divorce decree to give Mr. Arthur credit of the obligation of the Social Security benefits as child support. Therefore, I will give him credit, and that will be a remaining judgment of 21,000. And Ms. Brigg, make sure I have this number right, $21,746.62.
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
I will order that Mr. Arthur pay off that judgment at a rate of $200 per month, and I will waive court costs. You do have the right to appeal my judgment. The way you do that is in the form of a de novo appeal to the district court. And that is 3 days after I sign the order. Once I sign the order, you have 3 days to file that appeal to the district court. It's a de novo appeal. Unless there's anything else, Ms. Brigg, if I can get the order by tomorrow noon.
I will have it done. If I can be in a breakout room though with Mr. Arthur so I can address those monies on hold with him.
Yes, ma'am. That will conclude the hearing. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Arthur, can you rejoin your breakout room? I want to talk to you and give you some information about that money on hold, okay? You are muted, sir.
How do I do that, ma'am?
Well, the easiest thing may be to just put you in a different room.